Welcome, my Zentangle friends. My name is Emmy, and you are on the last of a summer shorts of Zentangle this year. So I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. We shorten that to say CZT, just because it's a little easier. And this has been a very fun summer series. So I grab my bag that I have all my supplies in, and this is what comes out. You are going to want a little thicker of a pen today. Maybe Sharpie, whatever pen you have, as always, works just fine. Got my snack, got my eraser, might need it. And here's where we're going. Now, I've done a couple versions of this. One has darkening in here, and this one does not have darkening. I like them both, but you need to, it's fun to have options, right? One of them, I quite like this mist, but I like Doodah just as well. So, choices. Obviously, this is a little more sepia paper too. And let's get started. The pattern we're gonna do today is called Melb. And the way you do it is this. I'm gonna grab my supplies for you. And all I'm gonna do is make 3 drops. Now in our pattern, I think you probably noticed that we are doing 4 drops. And it won't matter, whatever you choose to use. The first one next to this, I'm gonna go down just a little bit to about here. I'm gonna raise this up a little bit and I'm gonna mirror off. Kind of like a thick aura. Do it again. One more. Out and in. This is the prettiest lobe, isn't it? Out and in, and they get smaller each time. You can put that last one in, or you don't need to. It's just as cool either way. Okay, so let's get started with our project today. I've already pencil lined the outside in, and then I'm going to mark off 4 areas, north, south, east, west. I'm going to connect them running right past this pencil line that I made on the diagonal. And it won't matter at all if this falls off like this. It's just as cool either way. So please don't give that a worry. Okay, the first thing I want to do is divide up, and I'm going to use this line, this dot that went through here, and make an aura all the way around. You see that that is a substantial line as far as the distance from the first line. And I really prefer to work on the inside. I've done that on the outside too. I don't like it as well. Let's do this one more time. You notice I'm working in pencil. You can work in pen if you like, but pen can be a bit of a limiter when we are setting up our string, which this will be part of the activity that we're doing here today, our fun piece. Okay, so I've got my 3. I'm working on the diagonal. The next thing I'm going to do is make an orb in the middle. And then I'm going to switch over to pen. And I'm just using my 01 micron today. And I have tried both ways, but I really like it when the lobe goes to this part. So, but that's up to you. You might like it to be on the long angle too. You could try it on another piece of paper and see how you like this. I want to aim for this one with the lobe, and I'm going to come out, actually just call it a drop, right? And like I mentioned, we're doing 4. You can make these quite large. What's comfortable to you is what works. And if you want to air draw a few before you start, that's not a bad idea either, to help you get it off the way you'd like. Okay, so now we're going to start laying those aura kind of an aura thing that look at up, out, back in. A little lower each time. Up, out, back in. Repeat. And one more time. Close that in. The best part about the pattern we're doing today is no one is going to notice if one is not perfect. And perfection does not live in this place. So please know that no one is going to be looking at one line that you made that you think is a bit wonky. Just let it be. And relax your hand. I know that you're gripping your pen tightly, because I am too. But you will like the way it looks just as well if you relax. There. Oh, that's so pretty. The next thing I want to do is I want to come around the inside of each of the lobes with an aura line. Now for me, it's all about muscle memory. So I'm going to go around all four very quickly. And then I'm going to put the fun eye in here, like this, the half an eye shape. Again, for me, it's muscle memory, and I want to do all four of them at the same time because they will all look more alike if I do that. Now, I really am comfortable with putting a little darkening and leaving a little tiny hole in the middle, which is kind of in Zentangle world called sparkle. So I'm going to do that on all four. It's kind of random, as you see. It does not have to be centered. It's kind of cool if it isn't, actually. Or you could not have one at all. You could just have it be darkened in there, and that's pretty cool too. I've had a couple of comments from my friends who are doing these that say they've really enjoyed our summer shorts. And I have too, and I'm so glad to hear that you're liking it too. So now all I'm doing is right off the middle, I'm just going to make a kind of a huge U, and the next ones are smaller. So a middle one and two off the sides, and then one or two, whatever you feel you have room for, depending on how large you work. Those cute little whiskers, which are kind of like fold lines. So watch again. Giant U, and then two off the sides, or three, it doesn't matter. And if you have room for three on one and not on the other, that's also personal preference. Going to work just as fine either way. Have faith. Some have two, some have one on that. Isn't that interesting? I really do like to go around the tops of these and fill in. See what I'm doing here now? And it is, I don't need a big pen for this. It just seems to look a little more finished to me. But it is, you know, it's an embellishment. It isn't necessary if you are not in the mood to do that. It will work out. And there, now this is so pretty so far. I really would like to put an aura all the way around this. And I really like the idea that it can, I can go around each of those lobes, those mini lobes I made. See how that is? How pretty? And I have plenty of opportunities to lift my pen so that it doesn't have to make too big of a jump from lobe to lobe. I think that is so sweet. I just love it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is start working on the outside border. The pattern, which I know that you've seen before. And where is my copy I made for you? Well, it's Knightsbridge, and I'm sure it'll turn up any second here. So what we're going to do, though, is with our pen, I'm going to make a stick into the corner of each of these 4 diagonals. And then I'm going to divide this into about 10 pieces. So I don't want them to be too thin. Well, that didn't quite get to 10. You'll just have to see how it goes. An even number is optimal, but it will work out either way. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm going to go the other direction all the way around, like this, in between. So in between this and this, I'm going to go the other direction. And I'm going to put however many balance out. Again, one thing you don't worry about is if these first lines that you made, these pencil lines, do not exactly match all the way around. It's going to look really cool, you'll see. And it won't matter. Because I've been teaching and enjoying Zentangle for a really long time, and no one has ever pointed out a stroke to me. And very often the next day, when I look at my work, I can't even remember the one I wasn't happy with. So my message to you is just to relax and enjoy the process. This may be something that you already know, and I'm sure it is if you've been hanging around with me for a bit. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is fill this in all the way around, alternating. So it's going to be a bit different depending on how you do this, but I am going to darken every other one, and I am going to use a thicker pen. I happen to have a 05 handy. If you have a Sharpie or anything like that, that's what you want to use for this job. If you're like me and sometimes you get so zoned, which you might, you can go ahead and put a dot in the ones you want to darken like that. And that can be a really big help if you are zoning and you just, oh no. Otherwise, there are other ways to make it work. There's a mistake in one of those other tiles that I showed you, and I'm not going to tell you where it is, and maybe even now I couldn't find it either. But this is going to be a little time consuming to do a nice job, so take your time. That's really cool so far. I hope you like yours as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is the outside. And so it's the very same process. Again, if you want to dot the ones so that you make sure that you only darken one and not the other, but it'll be fine. Have faith. I find it easier sometimes to work long ways on these. So again, put me on pause or whatever is comfortable to you so that you can get your zoning. See you in a minute. Well, I'm all set and I'm back with you and ready for the next step. I hope you've been enjoying this, and I'm anxious to get you out to the beach or to that shady spot or to show your grand or whomever you want. The one I couldn't find was Knightsbridge, which you obviously know we've been doing here. So some people would call this jonquil, which is another headquarters pattern and is very similar. Okay, before I do anything with the outside edges, I want to put a line all the way around the inside, just tight, a small line. I'll have to lift my pen wherever I encounter that sweet pattern you and I just made, Melb. Which doesn't sound very sweet, but it still is a sweet pattern. That's just English, right? And I want to do the same thing outside. All the way. It's kind of an extra little bit of a border. Plenty of opportunities to lift your pen if you should need to. You don't have to push hard. Let your ink just flow. All right, now that I've got that border on, remember when we did the dots in the corner and made our line? I'm gonna go ahead and create a little triangle in each of these areas. We're going to use this triangle in a minute here. Now, my husband said this looks really cool just as it is, and he is a very good study person. So that's up to you. You might think, well, you know what, Emmy, this is just fine with me. And it is really cool, right like it is. And it's a little bit of a divot there. Okay, it is very cool, but I happen to want to add those treatments to the outside. I like Doodah the best today. And Doodah is very simply like we have here, a stick and a stick, and then down, up, down, up, down, up. When I did it, I did some extra dots in it in my sample here, and I really like the way that looks. So, but it still is essentially Doodah. Always start in the middle, in my opinion. And you know what? I'm going to use a little thicker pen in this. I want a little substance here. So I'm switching over, and then I'm going to dot, dot, and maybe I'll start again. Go the other direction, dot, dot. And the other side will also be dot, dot. Down, up, and so on. Until you get in this little corner here and it's not going to receive anything but just some sticks, some tiny sticks. Be sure to turn your page so that your work is in front of you, so that your hand doesn't have extra pressure. Okay, now it's time for the luscious shading. At least I think it's luscious. So you might have your pencil nice and sharp. I like to put shade all the way around the inside of that lobe. except where it's black. Black is just going to create a shiny feeling. And I also like to put in those side lobes. See how I've got my little bit of shading kind of going, slanting down a little bit, almost like a hook? There we go. So here I'm going to add a big smile shape all the way around, but leave a bit of hollow. So it's pretty thick. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Let me get a little closer. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I really want shading on one side of this jonquil or Knightsbridge pattern that we are doing here. It doesn't do any good to put it on the black. It just makes it shiny, and no shading will occur anyway. But I do want this to look like it is maybe folded. That's what I'm going for. Okay, that's fast, isn't it? While we're here, let's put a little bit of shade. Really want to work on with the side here of my pencil and get the graphite out. You see, I'm taking my time with this. A lot of graphite. And let's put graphite around here too. We're ready for blending. Start right, maybe this is, we haven't put our initials on, so it's a little bit hard to tell where we started. So on any of the 4 lobes, smudge, push that graphite right down. When we did our color pencil activity yesterday, I worked in a circular motion, and I do find that that trades off here too. Working in a circular motion can be a bit of a help when you're trying to blend. I have very dark here and then very light as it gets toward the middle. Oh, I can't wait to see what this looks like. I'm such a kid. So if you decided to darken all of this, then you're probably not shading where I am, but just on these outside lobes, you probably will do some shading on that. You can go all the way around this pattern here and lift it up off the page too. That's an interesting look. Okay, I really want this to spread toward the middle. So I am really pushing, but I'm also pulling. See how I'm pulling this in so that it stays dark right there at the edge. And then as it goes in, it gets lighter. And it goes away as you get toward the middle of your piece. How sweet is this? Shading is fast, but it sure is an ooh and a cool part. It's fun to teach somebody how to do shading, I think. I find that the best pencils are like a 4B, a little softer, or a drafting pencil, which you can buy individually at a hobby store. You will get more shade out of that, a softer lead pencil. Okay, so I have this fun thing here. All I'm doing is just smudging out that middle line a little bit. Not much necessary to do with that, really. If you're not careful, you'll end up exactly like I was telling you, with it looking very shiny. So the idea is this is kind of pushed in. Okay, let's see what happens out here. Again, I want to push this shading down into the paper so that it ends up diffusing out into the paper this way. It's a great chance for me to tell you how much I appreciate your commenting. Your input and your ideas are very welcome. And I do enjoy hearing from you very much. So thank you. Keep them coming. Please. Okay, that has quite a dark spot. I don't think I mind it. I need to look and evaluate. That looks a little different in the one area than the other. And so I don't know if you can see my dilemma here. I want this all to be dark, not just one side of the line. That's weird. There, now I can smudge it back out. So this is true Zentangle, not really a Zia, because I have no up or down and it does not matter. Oops, forgot this middle thing here. Smudging it out, leaving the little bit of light source in the middle. If I lose that little light source, I can always use my mono 0 and put it in there. See how I can erase just a bit of what I want, and I also want to make sure that this area stays quite light. Nice. And then if I do that, I'm going to want to get my paintbrush. There we go. Get it out of there, all those little divots. I don't want to brush my hand across this cool thing I just did. So anyway, where I was going a minute ago, I want to put my initials anywhere in here because there is no up and no down. Now, isn't that the coolest project ever? Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you real soon. Bye.